How's everyone doing tonight? Anyone here? It's all right. We're not in a real church. I assure you, they ain't gonna be quiet in there. So, but anyway, some new people here. I just want to welcome y'all to Abilene Bible and Brew. If you've never been here before, it's a really unique thing that we got going here. It's the first Wednesday of every month, obviously, and you're kind of looking at it. It's nothing but a relaxed sense of fellowship, us to get a chance to actually enjoy a few cold beers together and talk about faith. We have different wide array of people that come and talk to us every month. Last month we had Dr. Miles Werntz from Hardin Simmons come and give a real cool speech that's, I believe, on the Facebook page. Fascinating stuff talking about faith and immigration together. Real eye-opening, real different kind of thought. We'll talk about who we have, real special guest this week. Next month, in December, we actually have the mayor of Abilene, Anthony Williams, is going to be coming and sharing with us. So, like I said, real wide array, real cool, laid back, non-judgmental environment. That's why I love it. I love it so much. So we appreciate, if it's your first time, we appreciate you. If you've been with us before, we appreciate you coming as well. We actually have a few Bible and Brew t-shirts available over here. I think we got a pretty good mix of sizes, don't we, Tate? Is there anything we really...
Yeah, we've got some larges, a lot of larges, medium, and extra large. So that puts you $15.
Awesome. So yeah, if we got some of the Bible and Brew t-shirts that I'm poorly modeling up here. But yeah, so if everyone real quick will just grab your drink. We have a traditional toast. Instead of like an opening prayer, we kind of have an opening traditional toast that we do. So if you'll just raise your glass, and to live in Christ, to die is gain. From sharing good news, let us never refrain. From out of the church and off the pew into the pub for Bible and Brew. Our guest this month is a real cool guy that I got to know actually in my business selling cars. Whenever I worked at a Ford store, we got to meet through that and sold him a couple of trucks. Real cool guy. He's been a part of this ministry since the beginning. He's going to come and share with us. He's got a great heart and an awesome story. He is a local entrepreneur and fashionista, if you will, and fedora collector. But Matt Smith is going to come share his heart with us tonight. So give him a warm welcome. Try not to glance too much up at the Astros game. I promise.
Hey y'all. So I know if I get boring, I'll tell about the game. But anyway, so today I want to talk about just kind of hurting, like hurting as in what you would think. What do you think of whenever someone says hurting? Like just different words that you may kind of come to mind.
Livestock.
Livestock? Sheep? Cats? Hurting cats, we've done that as well. Alright, so anyway, a lot of it is, I'm going to kind of just talk about different things, and I don't really get up and talk and do any of that, so I'm not going to give a speech or a presentation, but whenever I was driving down the road, Tate had asked me what I was going to speak about, and the thing that I felt like right away was hurting. Why am I talking about hurting? Anyway, then I look up and I see a sign, and it was like, it made me think it's like a cowboy, and it was something out in Odessa. I don't even remember what sign it was, but it said hurting. So I sent him a message of hurting is what I'll talk about, and I didn't know what I was going to talk about with hurting. So I kind of like started looking into it, and I thought, what the heck, hurting? Okay, I can talk about hurting. I can, figure this thing out. So I was Googling it, looking at different things, and I came across a video that I wanted to show y'all because I thought it would be definitely appropriate for tonight. So anyway, I want to play this. Oops, that's not it. There it is.
Well, here we are. We're all set for the St. Patrick's Day Sheepdog Trials. It's a capacity crowd of
Can everybody hear it okay?
And first up is Garrett Longgrass with his border collie Roy. 3 times. He's a great competitor, this one. He's a legend in Gloucestershire, but we're in Yorkshire today, so that counts for nothing. Jim? Jim?
He's taking a lovely wide berth there. Being very careful not to spook them. This is a good start.
Yes, 10 out of 10 for the outrun. That's great work there from the young dog. They're bang on course for where they want to go. This lad is a wizard at whistling.
And he's got them all through. Yes, this is nice. Nice to see.
Now for the first real test. Can he get them past the couch?
Well, this obstacle has proved tricky in the past. A night in, watching the big game, it's always tempting.
Oh, but he's done it. Down the field they go, perfect formation. Now, on to the Indian restaurant. He has to be careful here not to lose the big lad.
Yeah, the throws a perfect way to end the night, but it's way too early for that. Oh, that's nice. It's good stockmanship, is this?
Oh, we have a split. 3 have made a run for the girls and... well, who can blame them? Look at that. I think we could even lose the shepherd to that one. This obstacle, it never fails to catch some of them out.
Oh, what's happening now? Oh, we've got one round the back. This is disastrous. That's 5 points gone, is that?
It's edge-of-the-seat stuff, this, Jim. You could hear a pin drop if we weren't in the field. Oh, and through the drive gates they go.
Oh, it looks like one of them has got a text from the missus. That could be the end of his night.
Oh, but look at that. Straight into the pub they go. That is lovely stuff. Textbook herding right there. All over them like a rash. Who is your daddy? That's what the dog is saying. Look at that.
I was going wild here.
Round up your mates for a Guinness. This St. Patrick's Day, Saturday, March 17th.
So anyway, I thought that was kind of funny, and to me it's great because the dog was out there doing what the dog was being told to do, and he's rounding everybody up, and then they're coming in for Bible and Brew. So here we are, we're all rounded up and we're here together. Something that was really cool, one of the guys that works with us, his wife said that I'm kind of like a people gatherer, and we kind of gather people together and just kind of get together, and so it's weird how a lot of this stuff goes. But anyway, I can really see that's happened a lot in my life. It's kind of people gathering around and doing different things. But I wanted to start off with a little bit of kind of telling y'all a little bit of my story, because a lot of people, may not know who I am, but some people do, and how we started Fat Matt and all of these other things. Just kind of, people have a lot of questions, and so I kind of go back a little bit I just go super quick through my life. So I was born, raised in Abilene. This is home. I love it, and it's where I intend to be. I was raised in church. My parents were really nice, good people, and I really appreciate the raising that they gave me. However, once I got old enough to realize the things that they said were bad were really fun, I decided that I didn't want anything to do with the things that they said were bad, and I went and just kind of did whatever I wanted to do. And then I had a great time during a lot of that. Met my wife. We got married, and I still like to party quite a bit. I had a lot of growing up to do, so I said that we're going to wait at least 5 years until we have kids. We waited at least 5 years, and now we have 5 kids. So I didn't say 6 years. But anyway, I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, 4-year-old, 2-year-old, and 2-month-old, and they're really amazing. I have like a super wife. She's incredible. But a lot of that kind of goes back to, I'll tell you, the kind of from the party to we still party, I like to party, but to the like out of control party side of me, to kind of where I would like to think that where I feel like we should be. I kind of let the pendulum swing all over, and it's somewhere in the middle where I feel like I should be. Anyway, so I had a friend that I went hunting with, and he was a friend from the car business, and this is like my drinking buddy. And the next thing I know, he's in a relationship with a lady, and I'm like, man, no, because like they weren't as good together, and we didn't really get to hang out that much. And then he ends up, she's married, so I'm like, dude, it's bad news. You're not supposed to be sleeping with a married woman, you know, and kind of started talking to him about it. He's like, I know. So I went and bought a Bible to try to find where in there you're not supposed to be doing that. And it didn't matter to me, really. I just didn't want him with her, so I started reading it to kind of go through that. And a lot of the stuff that I was doing kind of was stepping on my toes, and I was reading through it, and it's like, okay, cool. But anyway, we went on an elk hunting trip, and I left Austin in a brand new Dodge truck, and I drove out to Odessa. I drank the whole way there. Get there, I slept for like an hour before the sun came up, picked him up, and then we drove up to northern New Mexico drinking, driving the whole way. Partied the entire time there. On the way back, the same story. And all the while, I watched him bust a phone over a fence post because this lady hung up on him and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm like, dude, you're out of your mind crazy over this lady. Like she has you hooked. And so on the way back, I'm laying out a case on why he doesn't need to be in a relationship with this woman. And I had my Bible that I bought to read to tell him, and I took it with me. And so I'm sitting there, and I have a Bud Light in one hand, and I have a 7 and 7 in the other hand, and I lay out the case on why he doesn't need to be in a relationship with her. And I have the Bible on the console, and I'm kind of hitting my drink on it, and I'm like, if there's anything at all that could keep us from God in any way, no matter how small it is, we have to get it out of our lives, and we have to do it now. And whenever I said that, I looked down, and it hit me. Man, I have a problem. Like I had a big problem with alcohol. And so I rolled the window down, and I threw my drink out, threw this drink out. And I was littering. That's another problem, I guess. But then I grabbed a bottle of whiskey and I threw it out. And I thought I had another problem because my friend's a little bigger than me, and I thought he was about to hit me. And he said, "Don't touch my drink," so I didn't touch it. But anyway, he finishes his up, and he says, "Well, if you're not drinking, you're driving." He grabs more beer out of the bed of the truck, and I drive on the rest of the way. But anyway, so there's that side of all of that. So that was kind of the beginning of me kind of coming back to kind of like things of faith, I guess, because really before it wasn't ever anything about, it was just kind of, this is how I was raised, and it was kind of, I don't know, just the thing that you do in church or whatever it is. And so I ended up, I had, during that time, married and everything, I did, quite a few stupid things, and I decided that I wanted to go to this ministry school or whatever through the church, and it was a little 2-year school of practical ministry, and they asked some questions on there that I hadn't told people about, and in those things, I thought my wife doesn't know the stuff that I'm about to write down on this. And so I thought, I'm going to write it down, and if I feel like I'm not going to turn anything in to the school unless my wife knows about it beforehand and then knows even more of the detail beyond what I'm putting here. And so I wrote it all down, and then I talked to my wife about it, and some of the things that, going through, it's probably no different than a lot of people's stories, but I told her, hey, I did cocaine, and she, bawled, and I was like, I thought, man, how am I going to tell her that, I kissed a lady and all this? Anyway, we went through and we talked about all of the stuff that I wrote down, and it was really good to see. It was hard. I had a friend that told me that you are so selfish for telling your wife these things. There's no way you should do that because that's taking a burden off of you and putting it on her. And you're the most selfish, you're not a man, and all kinds of things. And it took me a long time to go through and talk about those things, because I kind of thought, you know what, he's probably right, and I shouldn't unload that on her, and I'm the one that screwed up. I should have to be the one to deal with it. And then I started thinking, anything in secret, that's just an area for an allegation, or it's an area for something that can come between her and I. And so I decided that I was going to tell her, and I told her, and kind of moving forward from there, we went to this ministry school, and it was, it's not, I don't have any ministry degree or any of that, but it's kind of just the practical, who are you, and a lot of those kind of things. In there, I read a book that was, it was about this thing called treasure hunting. And to where it's basically hearing from the Lord, and you write down clues, and you go out and you talk to people about the clues and what it is that you had wrote down. And I'm comfortable with church stuff, but this is like cuckoo crazy, like you're off the reservation, you just need to shut up and go away, little churchy boy type stuff. But I thought, okay, I'll try it, because I like adventure. I'll go do whatever. So it sounds like a party. Let's go try something, And the thing that ended up happening with it is we went out, and I used to work at Home Depot, and one of the first places that we went was Home Depot. And I'm like, no, I'm not going. We ended up in the Lowe's parking lot, and I'm like, yes, we're going to Lowe's. And we're getting ready to walk in, and one of the people that was with us said, oh, you know what? I felt like the Lord had told me we're going to Home Depot. I thought, no, Lowe's works. It's a home improvement store. We're okay. We'll go here. And I don't know those people. No, I feel like we're supposed to go to Home Depot. Dang it, this is stupid. So we go to Home Depot, and we talked to some people, and it was definitely way out of my comfort zone. But anyway, once we were there, I'll fast forward. I said, I'm not ever going to do this again, because I didn't feel like this is something that the Lord really wanted for me to do. I feel like this is some cuckoo, hocus pocus, weird stuff, and I don't want to do any of that kind of stupid stuff. But I decided that I'd go again. But the thing that I said is, because I thought, okay, Lord, if you are real, if you are wanting to talk to me like what I've read in the Bible that it says that you do, then you're going to have to give me some stuff that is beyond what I can come up with, beyond what I want to make up. Because what happened? I thought I missed it here. All right, yeah. All right, so I may have to take time-out breaks every now and then. Awesome. So anyway, if I'm missing something, y'all let me know. So. You're fine. Just like, hey. So anyway, like we have these I felt like the Lord had given me these crazy clues that I wrote down. And on the clues, you ask the Lord for a name, a location, a characteristic. These 5 categories down on a piece of paper, sign your name, date and time it, and then you go out and you look for your clues. So you're looking for a person. You have a description of them and all of this with their name. And it's stupid. Who in their right mind does stuff like this? And I'm already thinking this Home Depot thing is ludicrous, because I already went there and I didn't want to go. And then now here we are, and I feel like I have some crazy stuff wrote down. And we go out and we don't find them. Yes, I knew it. This is fake. Lord, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do stuff, living for you, and I've really tried to change on who I was and the things that I did. And I just want to be a good person. And I want to, whatever this whole religious thing is about, I want to do that, and I want to do what I was created to do. But this is like out there crazy. Anyway, so anyway, the next day at church, the lady comes and sits down on our row, and it was kind of like, we had our little row to where this is where we sit, and we kind of have our spot, and a lady sat kind of at our spot, and that was like out of my, I'm nearly like, dude, lady, you gotta move on up or back or over or something, but that's kind of where we sit. It was the lady that I had her name wrote down on my paper from the night before. It was the characteristics, the stuff was there. The thing that happened, we had went to Walmart that night. She was on her way to Walmart, and her husband had an accident, and she had to turn around And that's the reason that she wasn't there. And all of these things, she'd never been to this church before. And all of the things that ended up happening, and I thought, whoa, there may be something to this. So anyway, I want to kind of pause on that treasure hunting story and everything else, and then kind of get into more of the herding, what we saw with the video. A lot of people think herding livestock, cattle, now people, but all of these different things. But if you saw what happened in there, the person that was doing the herding, there was a whistler, somebody that was telling the dog what to do. There was something, and that dog knew his boss's voice. He knew the whistle, and how the person whistled indicated what he did to be able to do all of those things. And so whenever I went to Africa a few years ago, when we were there, we were driving into this little Maasai village, and there's like tons of sheep, like all over, and these tall black guys that are wearing these little skirt-looking deals, and I'm like, what's going on? This is kind of crazy. And they all walk up to this little bridge, and all the sheep go into this little bridge, and then they just kind of go their separate directions. And it's what it is they had a specific whistle. Each of the shepherds had something, and the sheep knew their shepherd's voice and their whistle and how they talked to them. So they could go into something with other people, and then whenever their shepherd took them in a different direction and was speaking to them, they knew exactly what their shepherd was, who he was, and so they would go in the direction of their shepherd. And so whenever you kind of put that together with this and all of the crazy stuff of this treasure hunting, weird stuff, then I started to think about it like, okay, and Bible tells us that, you know, Jesus was talking about my sheep know my voice. And then that put a picture to me whenever I saw those sheep going and following their shepherd. And so I thought, okay, so if we're to know our shepherd's voice, then we're going to need to spend time with him. We need to know what it is that he said. So we did this treasure hunting thing that I described a little bit to y'all. And it got to where I really loved it. And that cuckoo crazy, yeah, this is off the reservation, became something that, like, all week, I'm like, yeah, because we would go typically on like a Friday night. And so we did this for, I don't know, like 2 or 3 years, nearly every single Friday night. And with doing that, asking the Lord for 5 clues to write down on a piece of paper, I would write these clues down, and then, wow, when you walk in somewhere that you thought you heard the Lord say, you see the person in what you thought you heard him say, or whatever whatever there is that happens, and week after week after week, you find clues that the Lord told you. You start to realize that you know your Father's voice. And so that is enough to change you and to make you to where you think, okay, I know the Lord's voice. And Jesus said that I only do what I say the Father do, I only say what I hear him say, that whatever paraphrase that is. So anyway, if you can walk and you can do exactly what he's called you to do, I mean, who cares what the results are? I mean, if you're doing what you were created to do, let's do it. And there's, anyway, so I'll kind of hop back a little bit. So through all of those times, I had, we decided that we moved back to Abilene, and my wife is pregnant. She has a baby. She's pregnant again. She's having another baby. And before the month before this baby's due, I feel like the Lord tells me that I need to quit my job and volunteer. And I'm thinking, this is stupid, because quitting means I don't have money coming in, and volunteering means I don't have money coming in. So, and I've got baby number 2 about to be here. And so this isn't adding up to me. And I know her family is going to think that, you know, if you don't work, you don't eat. If you're this or that, if you're, you know, what good are you as a man if you're not going to provide for your family? And so it was really hard. But I knew that that's what the Lord had said. So I talked to my wife, and I said, hey, I feel like I heard something, and I just want you to pray and see if you hear anything. And I didn't tell her what it was. And she said that she felt like the Lord had told her that it must be done. And so she's like, this is what I feel like the Lord said. And so she tells me, I tell her, she's like, let's do it. And so a month before she has this baby, I now don't have a job. And we went a year and a half in this time of our life to where the Lord just provided in however He did it. But during that time, we had some amazing stories in the way that the Lord provided through that season. And I had somebody tell me in the middle of that, so I volunteered at Pregnancy Resources, and I did that like once a week or so, and I was up there, and one of the ladies that was there, amazing, so Beverly Gibson, if y'all know who she is, but she gave me a prophetic word one day that was talking about and this is one of the prophetic words that I've kind of gone back to several different times in my life and been able to really kind of trying to wrap my head around whatever the situation is. But she said that she saw me kind of in a duster, like a cowboy duster, out like you'd see them, with the big old jacket and everything. And she said that I was out trailblazing. And I'm like, okay, whatever. This, trailblazing and kind of nearly that herding type of a feel. And she said that so the blazer was kind of like a mantle and kind of what the Lord has called me to do, or something. I don't know. Anyway, but anyway, inside of there, she said you don't have to provide for what the Lord has called you to do. Because what happened is the next thing she sees me open up the coat, and inside of it, it's lined with all of these pockets, all the way around, everywhere there's these pockets in there. And in it, she said, you just reach into one of those pockets, and out of it comes provision. And that's exactly what the Lord has for you at that time. And so it's been a lot of weird stuff, and I'm sure a lot of what I've said is already, maybe for some it's weird, for others it's like, whatever, this is everyday life, I don't know. But anyway, it's easy to go through and talk about those things. And then I get into the oil field and I start making really good money. And I really did. I enjoyed the oil field, except for being away from home sometimes. But it was good money, and we saved pretty good. We had money and different things, and then I bought a house. And I'm driving back out to Pecos. There's a hailstorm, and I'm in Pecos, so I have to drive back to Abilene, and I start dealing with the house. And so we start, I board up windows, and we're doing this and that, and just trying to make it to where it's not leaking in the house. And then I go back to work. So the hailstorm happened June 12th of 2014. My birthday was June 13th, so the hailstorm took me home for my birthday, and then Father's Day was that weekend, so I was able to be here for a little bit for Father's Day. So I thought, man, this hailstorm is great. It took me to the house for my birthday. I would have been working, and I got to be here for a little bit of Father's Day before I had to go back to work. So anyway, I go back to work, and I don't think that I'm going to do anything except for what I'm doing. What I thought I was going to do is start an oil field company. So I was going into starting an oil field company. I'm researching and I'm digging in and seeing what I can do to start it. We had saved money, and we were kind of putting back to do that. And then I'm driving back out to Pecos another day, and I feel that the Lord tells me it's time to turn in my resignation letter. No, I'm making too much money now. And this is what I thought that I was supposed to do. I'm supposed to start this oil field company, and this is how we're able to do this and that and all the things that we can do. And so I went a couple weeks without doing it, but I finally ended up, I told my wife, and we talked about it and thought, you know what, this is probably what we're really, we know the Lord, but we hadn't been treasure hunting. We haven't been doing a lot of those things. Yeah, we're still living for the Lord. We're still, this and that, but we're not like, yeah, let's go. Let's do whatever we can, and because it was a different season, I guess. I don't know what it is. And then, but whenever we heard that, we thought, okay, let's do it. We quit, and I said, I'm going to take a month off and just spend with my family, because here I've been out working a lot, and I haven't got to spend much time with them. So I took this time, and then on through this process, I think, you know what? I probably need to deal with this roof now that I have some time here and I'm not out of town. So I talked to different people. I had some people that came out and took a look at the house. There were people that were from out of town that had stopped. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. And what I learned through that is I didn't like the insurance process, and I was complaining about how crooked the roofing industry appeared to be and how I didn't trust the people that I was talking to. And I just thought, you know what? I'm not giving my money to someone I don't trust. I talked to a friend that the kids went to school with, and he knew some people that did, that they had a full crew, and that's what they did, is they roof for a living. I mean, that's their job is roofing, except for they didn't work for a specific company. He showed me how to just buy the materials and have them come in and do it, and so I thought, okay, I can do that. But I started looking at the paperwork, at the insurance paperwork, and I saw that there was a large chunk of money that the insurance company didn't pay. So I called them and I said, hey, how do I get the rest of this money that you didn't pay? They said, you can't. That's for a roofing company. And so, anyway, I'll back up because I'm starting to go into roofing talk. But anyway, so I started the company just to do my roof. And then I did some for friends, some for family. And then next thing I know, we had Fat Pat Roofing. And it was a lot of, like, it just kind of happened. I didn't try to start the company. And then we started marketing a little bit. And then I looked up and I thought, this is a real company here. Like, I would have never got this if I wouldn't have resigned, turned in the resignation when I did. Because I would have probably had somebody else come and roof the house, and then I would have probably tried to start my oil field company, and then the bottom was falling out of the oil field, and so I could have lost everything up to that point, and I don't know what would have been like. So I'm very grateful for the times that I've heard the Lord and that I've obeyed what He said. And looking at it over the years, man, I don't know how many times I've missed what He said, or I've done something that He didn't say to do, or any of that. And I'm not trying to say that anything other than, hey, let's just try to listen, let's try to do that. I had a really cool thing that happened along the way, though. So after the company started, I ended up, I just went out and started selling roofs. I thought, hey, this is what I'm doing now, so I know how to do sales. I was in the car business, so I'll go, man, I missed the second point, y'all. That's not even fair. Y'all are over here watching it, and He didn't let me go. So anyway, I get out and I sell, and I was working out in the Rising Star area because they had a hailstorm in 2015, and I'm driving back in, and I'm like, we have so much work, I don't have enough help. So I either need to scale up or scale back, but I can't continue with it like where we are. We prayed and we thought, okay, well, we need to, my wife and I prayed about it, we talked about it. We ended up said, okay, let's scale up. So we started building the company at that point. And then another thing that happened driving in, I needed more labor, and I tried to post an ad on Craigslist for more labor, and my phone's not working. I'm like, this is stupid. Come on now, I just need more help. And it didn't work. I pull up in the driveway, and I've got a voicemail that was nothing. Just one of those blank voicemails, like someone called and then they didn't want to leave a voicemail, but they forgot to hang up or something. Anyway, I call them back because I think I just handed out a bunch of cards, and any number that shows up, I'm calling them back because they may have tried to reach me but just didn't want to leave a voicemail. So I call back and they say, no, do you need a roof? I said, do you need a roof? They're like, no, do you need a roof? And I said, let me ask you something. So are you saying that you have a roofing company? No, I do the work. I said, okay, so you're saying you have a roofing crew? And they said, yes, I have 2 trucks, 2 trailers, and 2 full crews. I thought, you've got to be kidding me. Because my phone wouldn't post any ads, and so I said, I talked to them, and I went over to their house, and I just said, look, here's the voicemail. I said, I've never called you. This person never called me, and yet somehow I had that blank voicemail, and I call them back, and just to see the things that the Lord has done that's like crazy, that don't make any sense. Even while I was in Rising Star, when I went out there, I was out rototillering a garden. My wife sent me a picture about hail that was falling in Cross Plains. And so I thought, well, I know where I'm going tomorrow. I'm going to go to Cross Plains because I'm going to try to have a roofing company now. And then I just prayed and I said, Lord, what does my day look like? Because I already had a full day ahead of me. And the thing that I felt the Lord said is, Rising Star, if you have time, Cross Plains. I thought, okay, I guess I'll go to Rising Star, which doesn't make sense. I already saw that there was grapefruits falling from the sky in Cross Plains. But I went to Rising Star, and actually that was the area that was hit harder than Cross Plains that night. And just how the Lord did that, and how each thing was kind of, seemed like it was really orchestrated by the Lord. I know it sounds crazy, but I mean, it's what really happened, and that's kind of the story of how we started the company. But and then there's been times that, like, I had one guy that was recommended to come to work with us, and he was highly recommended. The guy was really good at roofing sales. He knew the industry. He was just really good at talking to people and all of that, and prayed about it, and I felt that the Lord said no. And I hadn't even met the guy. And everything that I'd heard was great. And so I ended up, I said, man, hey, no, I don't think right now, and some of that. And I just kind of left it like that. I didn't want to make him feel like the Lord's telling him he's not good or something. Because that wasn't it at all. There was just something there. But anyway, all of that just kind of coming around and looking at it. I talked to somebody just the other day about something, and he had said that he was praying about this specific topic, and like he and his wife and all of these things, and I hadn't even prayed about it, and it was a pretty big thing. And he's like, I feel like the Lord was saying this, and I'm like, man, I haven't prayed about this. I haven't been talking to the Lord about a lot of these things because I've been so busy. I've been doing this and I've done that, and we opened up a branch in Odessa, and we've been, like, this morning we left Abilene, went to Odessa, and we just got back in this evening. And so I mean, we're running here and there, and it's just like crazy level of stuff going on in my head at times, and I haven't been praying like I used to. I haven't been doing a lot of those things, and yet it's not about what we have done or any of that. It's not about me or you or anything, because the Lord can talk to you just like He told me hurting the other day, and to talk about this tonight. I mean, it's weird. I mean, talking about hurting, it's weird, talking all of those things and telling y'all that, hey, I haven't been praying, and this is just a couple days ago that this conversation happened, that I haven't even prayed about a pretty big thing that, and here I am tonight talking about praying and hearing the Lord and everything. But I'm just going through and just sharing with y'all what I know to be true from the Lord. Whether I'm doing it or not, it doesn't make it true. It's just true. I mean, the Lord, whenever we see in the Bible, there's people that when they didn't want to listen to Him, an animal would talk, or whatever it may be. So, I mean, the Lord is going to find ways to get to make us understand whatever it is. What we need to be able to do is to know that our Father is a good Father. And for us, I have the 5 kids. And I would like to think that I try to take care of my kids, and I try to do the best that I can. If my kids are running, I'm not going to stick my foot out to try to trip them when they're running at the pool. I want to tell them, stop running. The thing that we say 1,000 times during summer probably. But anyway, whenever there's that, that's another story. But anyway, we just have to be able to be open to anything that the Lord has for us and be willing to listen. And if He says something, it may sound crazy, but don't be afraid of it. So anyway, I can talk your ear off. I can talk for a long time more. But there's a few things. I know there's a game on, and I want to know if y'all have any questions, because I don't know. I've said some really crazy things. I mean,
where did the fat come from?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I'm sorry to disappoint you. So what happened is, the job that I ended up leaving the month before my second child was born, I was selling modular homes, and it was I was there, and I used to run ads that would say, "Beautiful kitchen with a 9-foot island, bathroom so big you can dance in it. Call Matt. Come see Matthew. Ask for Mr. Smith." Whatever it was, and I would have people that would call, "Hey, I want to talk to someone about this 9-foot kitchen island." People would walk in, "Hey, can I see that house with the dancing bathroom?" "Okay, are you looking for anybody in particular?" "No, I just want to see the house." And I knew it was my ad because I wrote it. And they used the exact words that I put in the ad. So I put "call Fat Matt." And people started calling and asking for Fat Matt. I thought, this is stupid. Like, you're out of your mind. They would walk in, "Where's Fat Matt? I want to see him. Come on, let's go find him." And I'd set them down in the office, and I'd say, "Hey, I'm Matt." And they're like, "But you're not fat." That's right. That's right. So whenever I did that, it was the proverbial ice was broken. And then it was just so much fun, because what I saw in the modular home business was very similar to the used car business. Whenever people walked into the dealership, they were ready to fight. They thought, "I've got to beat this person up. They're going to try to get me for every penny that I have." And even in the car business, it's like, not every experience has to be that way. You may have had a bad experience before, and that's the reason that you feel that way now. But with that kind of deal, it was great. We had fun, and at the time I had hair down to about here, so I kind of had this Jesus look going, and I was doing this treasure hunt stuff, and I'm like, doing whatever. So that was really cool. Anyway, I answered your question. So anyway, whenever I'm out doing this treasure hunting stuff, I'm walking up talking to people, and I'm telling them these stories, like that the Lord just gave me these clues. And they're telling me, "How did you know this?" And then I'm able to tell them that, look, the Lord loves you so much that He gave me these clues earlier at this time. And I wrote them down, and He sent me out here looking for you. Because He wants you to know how much He loves you. He wants to heal your this or your that or whatever it is, and to see the miracles and the stuff that happen through that. I can't make the stuff. I mean, there's some wild stories. But anyway, I'm out there running around doing this, and I look like Jesus with the long hair. That's what made me say that part of it. But anyway, so that's that. And that is probably the question. That is the question I get the most, is why that. And so whenever I started the company, my insurance company told me that I had to that I had to be a real roofing company. So I started Fat Matt LLC, just because I could. I mean, I was like, I'm Fat Matt, and I don't know that I'm ever going to do anything with this, but Fat Matt LLC is available, so I snatched it up, paid the money, did all those things. And I didn't know that.
You've got to think for the future.
That's right.
Right.
If I have too many cervezas, then I can put the name. So, but it's really, really neat to see how that happened. And looking at it, whenever we started kind of building the company, how the Lord brought people into the company. One of the guys, I met him at the Leaf. We're sitting down having a cigar, and so I mean, there's that. And then this person and that person, and it's just amazing to see how the Lord just kind of brought people in, and how, it's anyway, we've had a good time. I'm not here to talk about just the dollar company, but I'll talk about it. I love talking about the company. But do y'all have any other questions?